Well, howdy, y'all. My name is Reverend, and I'm using a hyper offense team, which means that I absolutely did not make it because I am terrible at making hyper offensive teams. Because I feel like for how easy to use a good one is, they're incredibly difficult to build because just like the nature of the archetype means that you're not worried about having switch-ins to anything. It's all about just making sure that your fucking Blitzkrieg is going to be able to take out all of the fat mons you need to have taken out by the time your final setup sweeper comes in and just like sweeps whatever the fuck is left of your opponent's team within like 15 turns. And for me, and probably for most people, offensive synergy is a lot harder to conceptualize than defensive synergy, so I just end up leeching all of my hyper-offensive teams from two threads on the OU subforum. They were posted by Flaming Victini and Extra Shine. I forgot to check who made this specific team before I started recording this battle, but the fact that it doesn't have a Garchomp on it tells me that it almost definitely wasn't Extra Shine, so it was probably Flaming Victini, so shoutouts to him. I usually go on like a fucking 3-minute thesis on what all of the Pokemon on a team do specifically, but I have no idea what the fuck specifically these Pokemon do, but it doesn't really matter because you end up playing every battle with a hyper offensive team essentially the same in the grand scheme of things. You're going to be using different Pokemon to break down walls. You just need to make sure that by the end of the game, you're going to have a setup sweeper that's going to just fucking go to town. You lay hazards, you block defog with a Bisharp usually. What the fuck else do you want? Whenever I use a hyper offensive team, I'm just using it because I'm probably very inebriated and they're just not stressful to use at all. Sometimes you just want to like click a bunch of buttons that have a bunch of numbers on them and just feel like a big man. And the only reason I wanted to use this specific team was because it had a fucking Archeops on it. So that's all it took to sell me. And Archeops is, I don't know if it's a very good Pokemon. It's definitely really interesting as an anti-lead because it has a really good speed tier. It has Taunt and Stealth Rock, which is like what you want. And it's also got Endeavor, which is a really interesting move, really gangster move just in general. And it also has Head Smash, which you're not really using for the damage potential, even though that's good, obviously. You are using it so that you can actually just like kill yourself on Pokemon that are going to try to Rapid Spin or Defog on you, which is just always really funny. And I'm going to go ahead and lead off with new style here because you're pretty much always going to be leading with your like dedicated hazard lead unless they have like a Sableye or something. Go ahead and taunt his Terrakion. The fact that he goes for a Stone Edge means that I have to choose between Stealth Rock and Endeavor, and I go for Endeavor just because I prioritize breaking his Focus Sash more than setting up Stealth Rocks, because honestly, Sneaky Pebbles don't really do that much to this dude's team, especially that Spikes aren't going to do anyway, because that's going to do as much damage to everything, and more to the Gastrodon and Bisharp, and I just wanted to make sure that the Terrakion was out of the way, because that could have been a problem otherwise. Go ahead and set up a Belly Drum on his Gastrodon, which isn't going to burn me with the Scald, which would have been really fantastic had I not fucking whiffed this Play Rough right here, and Starla is going to catch a burn with the next Scald. And if I had done what I actually was going to do at first, it would have been even more tragic, because I wanted to go for a Waterfall, expecting him to go into his Heatran to take the really obvious Play Rough, but I do just end up going for the safe Play Rough, which is going to go ahead and take out his Gastrodon. Chavo Guerrero does come in on the Bisharp, and this motherfucker busts out the fucking technology. I definitely wasn't expecting the Psycho Cut at all, even though that doesn't really impact the way this exchange plays out, other than, I guess, it ends up tilting Chavo Guerrero so hard that he fucking misses this high jump kick, which is so awful, because otherwise I would have just clean swept his team with the people's champ, Chavo Guerrero, but I'm sorry that if the only thing you hear for the rest of this recording are just, like, the faint sounds of me fucking hanging myself in the background, but this battle has definitely not gone my way so far. It has just been like a non-stop tragedy, so I'm going to try to pick up the pieces of this battle with Flame Individual, go ahead and bring it in, expecting to catch a Fire Blast, but I do catch an Earth Power, which tells me that I definitely don't want to Mega Evolve yet, because then I'm actually going to be susceptible to that. So I do just set up Dragon Dances as like stock Charizard. I don't know what the fuck this Roserade thought it was going to do, but it is just going to catch 2 + 2 Dragon Claws, because that wasn't enough to kill it with 1, and go ahead and get some spectacular damage on the Heatran, if I do say so myself, and go ahead and pop its balloon, which I didn't need to pop anyway, because I don't have Earthquake, because I have fucking Roost, which I thought I was going to have to play mind games and, like, play around him trying to Earth Power me on the Roost turns, but I'm pretty sure, based on the way that this little game of grab-ass plays out, that this dude didn't know how Roost works, because he doesn't Earth Power me for, like, the rest of the battle. He just keeps going for... He goes for Flash Cannon at this point. I don't know if that's because he, like, ran out of Fire Blasts, but that would have been pretty funny. Go ahead and Roost this turn while I finally get the special defense debuff from the Flash Cannon, but it doesn't really matter because at this point I can just go ahead and Mega safely and take it out with a Dragon Claw. The Mega Alakazam is going to come out, and oh shit, it traces the Tough Claws. I'm dead! Oh, I guess. Flame Individual was able to clutch it out and take out the Mega Alakazam with the Dragon Claw. I've had a lot of really stupid fucking battles in OU. The illustrious title of Dumbest Battle changes hands quite frequently, but I feel like this one really earns it, because this is a real gem. I feel like having two majestic as fuck Charizards on the screen just, like, only highlights how much of a goon Archeops is in this game, but I love it. It's the best animation in the game. And I only wish that I got to see it for more than, like, 2 turns every battle. But apparently, people know what Archeops does, which was really disheartening for me. I was just, like, banking on the idea that they wouldn't know what the fuck it does, but people always attack me on the taunt turn. And I do figure out that this is Choice Scarf Landorus T, which is really good to know, even though it is just going to go ahead and U-turn out into his Alakazam. Look at how fucking weak it is. Doesn't even, like, okay, the reason I brought this out is because I knew I was going to live anyway because of the Focus Sash. But it doesn't even bring me down to my Focus Sash with that Energy Ball, and I can just go ahead and take it out with a Quick Attack because he didn't go into his Ferrothorn for some reason. And then the Landorus T is going to come out. I know that I get a free switch into Chavo Guerrero, but I really didn't want him to knock off because that means now I can't really switch out because then I'm not going to have Unburden when I come back in later. So I am going to have to attack the Clefable, even though I know I'm not going to kill it because Holucha is so weak. There is no reason for it to only have 92 base attack, but I do end up weakening the Clefable to the point where I can just go ahead and Belly Drum with Starla, go for a knockoff, because I know that he's going to want to switch into his Ferrothorn, and it would have killed his Clefable at that point anyway, because its health was so low from the acrobatics. The Starmie is going to come out. He definitely can't Rapid Spin at this point, because he's going to have to attack me, because otherwise he's just going to get fucking murked, which is great, because that means that his Charizard is going to have way less of a chance of just, like, wrecking my team. He really, like, he couldn't switch out into his Lando T to take the Quick Attack because his Starmie would have just died on the switch in anyway, so I am just going to get a little bit of free damage on his Landorus T at this point while he does U-turn out into his Charizard, which means that I'm going to have to, like, pray to Satan that this dumbass Gambit right here works. Once again, it's in my best interest to not Mega Evolve because I don't want to be a Dragon type, because I knew that that was going to be Charizard X, and I wanted to make sure that I could survive the Dragon Claw, and then don't Mega Evolve again so that I can go ahead and dodge the Earthquake, kill it with a Flare Blitz, and then he's just going to Rage Quit after having been made a fucking fool of. Like, so why the fuck did it take 2 Mega Evolutions to make Charizard OU when he's clearly OU viable on his own, judging by those last 2 battles? I'm pretty sure this is actually the first video I've ever uploaded with a Charizard X on my team to this channel, which is strange because it's, like, absolutely the best Mega Evolution in the game. I'm pretty sure it's been S rank on the viability threads since the game came out, or at least since, like, all the really dumbass Megas like Mega Blaziken and Mega Kangaskhan got banned. But definitely a really, really fucking scary Pokemon. I have no idea why it never got suspected, because, like, even on its own merits, it's the best Mega Evolution, and then you also have to always worry about it being Mega Charizard X or Y. So, I don't know why I haven't really used it that often. I don't know why I don't see it that often, honestly. Maybe because I don't actually get to the part of the ladder where people actually know how to play. But I guess the reason I don't use it that much is because I really don't like Charizard, honestly. Like, I know that everyone is fucking popping boners to him, but I always rolled with Venusaur because he was good against every gym leader. Like, legitimately everyone. Also, Razorleaf was broken as fuck in that game. And Mega Venusaur gets an Adorbs little hat, so you really can't do better than that.
Born down in El Paso, where the tumbleweeds blow, to the middleweight champ of all Mexico. Dad fought many bloody battles, and he raised 4 sons. Chavo was the oldest one. Old man Gory could pop like a live grenade. Raised his boys in the way of the trade. Hector and Mondo, young Eddie G. Chavo meant the most to me. Look high, it's my last hope. Chavo Guerrero, coming off the top rope. He came from Texas seeking fortune and fame. Rose pretty quickly to the top of the game. Defender of the downtrodden, king of the hill. Tag team champion with Almadrill. Before a black and white TV in the middle of the night. I'm lying on the floor, I'm bathed in blue light. The telecast's in Spanish, I can understand some, and I need justice in my life. Here it comes, look high.